This thematic unit was based off the book Animal Farm by George Orwell. Orwell wrote this book as an allegory to the Russian Revolution and the growing idea of communism. In the first lesson of this unit, students developed background knowledge of the Russian Revolution and communism. Students were given a reading and video clips to develop presentations on a specific topic. At the end of the lesson, students were given a comprehension quiz to make sure they attained the relevant background knowledge to relate to the story. In the second lesson, students dissected Old Major's speech for different speech strategies. Strategies included unity, vocabulary, and the idea of us versus them. They then cited textual evidence to support their claim. After filling in the graphic organizer on the next slide, they composed a topic sentence and concluding paragraph. Students did not write a complete open response because this was a practice for a district-determined measure writing response they will do later on. Here is an image of the graphic organizer students used to complete Lesson 2. Lesson 3 took place over the entire reading of the book. The organizer on the next page is an image of that organizer. As students read Animal Farm at home, they used their background knowledge of the Russian Revolution and communism to make connections to the story. Orwell mentions that all characters and events parallel to a person, idea, or event in the story. At the beginning of each class, the students and teacher have a discussion on new connections that have been made. In Lesson 4, students were introduced to the idea of satire and irony using Onion articles. With the class, we broke down the different elements of satire, including exaggeration, persona, and tone. Using additional Onion articles, the class breaks down the elements of satire and pulls examples from the articles. At the end of the lesson, students get to create their own satirical article. In the final lesson, students work in groups to create a political campaign for one of the characters in the story. They create a political speech using what they have learned from the Old Major speech lesson. They also create an audio and visual presentation to help sway students to vote for their candidate. What they have learned in the satire lesson helps them create interesting presentations to draw votes. At the end of the lesson, the class votes on a final candidate.